to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
How are you doing, man?
I'm the fucking world. Are you kidding me?
Man, if there's anything that made this week crazy, it's free agency as a whole, just to start things.
Yeah, I mean, free agency is always crazy, and it's always, I would say, the best time of the year. Like, the two most exciting days of the year for hockey outside of anything playoff related are free agency frenzy, especially like day one of free agency.
Day one is always just craziness.
And the other is the trade deadline.
Oh, trade deadlines. Yes.
So those are both the most exciting days because depending on
lighting. Ugh.
Right. So depending on like whether or not you're a contender or middle of the pack
pretender
or rebuilding,
pretender.
Yeah, it dictates what you do. If you're a team that's not going to be making the playoffs on trade deadline day, you're obviously going to be selling some pieces. We experienced that last year, not this past season, but the year before that, when we traded away Nick Foligno and got a first-round pick, and traded away David Savard and got a first-round pick.
Right.
So I
can't even remember what those picks turned into. If I'm honest with you,
the Toronto pick was Corson Kuhlman's.
Okay.
And the 32nd pick that we got from Tampa was included in the Seth Jones trade. That became Nolan Allen, and that allowed us to 12 to get Cole Sillinger.
Gotcha. Okay.
So two really, really smart and crafty moves by Jarmo Kekalainen, who's been making a lot of them lately.
Yeah, and he's still got a ways to go, but the Magic Finn is making a lot of big he's doing his thing, and that we all know as hardcore fans, at least, that Jarmo loves swinging for the fences, right?
Yeah, he is. We talk about like the good GMs in the National Hockey League, and I don't even think it's a question that 1 and 2. We've discussed this before. It doesn't matter what order
we just discussed it a week ago.
Are Sakic and Yzerman.
Yes,
that is. It's not a debate. It's not a debate at all. And I put Breeze Ball out there.
Yeah. Do you want to do this real quick before we get into Jarmo's moves, and actually have this discussion of the top 5?
Yeah, I think sure we can. I mean, I'm going to have to look at these teams real quick just to try and remember every GM and put them in there. But
right, because you said the
Duncan's
one got
to be in there.
The 1 and 2 are pretty obvious. It's like Vasi and Igor from this past season, right?
It doesn't matter what order.
Yeah.
I would probably put Sakic ahead of Yzerman only slightly. Only because he has actually seen the end result of what
he puts of his labor. Yes.
It's like, he built most of the team in Tampa.
And he just got a promotion. He's the president now.
Exactly. So he's done so much good work. He's helping the Red Wings rebuild. He's doing a fantastic job. He did a great job in Tampa, but he wasn't the GM when they won back-to-back Stanley Cup. He had a big part in it, but he wasn't there. Sakic just won the Stanley Cup. Like he actually has that on his resume. So I'm going to give Sakic a little bit of an edge there.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Yzerman's fucking fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of them,
and this is mostly in terms of just how intelligent they are in making moves. That's really the only judgment that I'm giving this.
Yeah, I mean, how good are you at drafting, trading? Do you give out smart contracts? Mm-hmm. Do you manage the cap well? Which kind of goes into what I just said about
Kelly McCrimmon.
So I would say 3 would be Tom Dundon.
Tom Dundon, yeah, he's.
I mean, think about it. This guy.
Wait a minute. Is Dundon? Hold on. Dundon.
It's Carolina.
I thought he was the owner. You're thinking Don Waddell.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
You're thinking of Don Waddell.
They're so yeah. I mean,
Tom Dundon's the owner.
They're so like interconnected because of how they manage things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Waddell. I'm an idiot.
Don Waddell is
good job
yes.
together putting things together because
yeah, I get why you said Tom Dundon because they are a 1-2 punch.
They're more connected in terms of GM owner than really any other relationship in the National Hockey League that I can think of in a positive way.
Right.
So yeah, that's where my confusion came from. But you look at the moves that they've made in the last several years. You manage the cap so well that you can take on Patrick Marleau and get a first-round pick. Yep. That becomes Seth Jarvis. You know, you manage the cap so damn well that you
let's make this quick. Just fire off your other two because we really got to get to
all those guys.
So 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
And I really just wanted to ask your
Armstrong's in there, like I said.
Doug, right?
Yeah. He's done a great job with the Blues.
Yep.
And
I mean, if you could you put Jarmo like early top, like mid top 10?
Oh, he's easily top 10. I don't even think that's a debate, to be honest with you.
No.
I might put Jarmo 5.
You might put Jarmo 5, huh? Like, honest.
And the reason that I do is because there are other good GMs. Like, I think of Bill Zito, too.
Yes, Bill Zito, protege.
I struggle to put guys like Bill Zito in there just because of how long they've been GM.
Like I said, he's just getting into his own. He's a protege at Kekalainen's.
Exactly. So you look at like GMs in the National Hockey League. Jarmo's been in Columbus forever, and he's done a great job. Wandell's been in Carolina for a while. He's done a great job. You know, I mean, Armstrong's been in St. Louis since like 2010. He's done a fantastic job. Steve Yzerman hasn't been in Detroit forever, but we're counting Tampa Bay in this because they're kind of so he's done a fantastic job in both. He's been there for a while, and then Sakic too. So like, how long you've been a GM at a place factors into that because I don't want to throw in a GM in the top 5 if they've been there for 3 years. So that is the reason for my list. I put Jarmo at 5.
That's totally fair. And honestly, like, we're going to start with probably the smallest one. But he's, especially over the last, like, since free agency started on, what was it, Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah.
It was Wednesday. Yeah, because I remember I was working when on day one.
Yeah.
Always call off on free agency day one.
Yeah, that was a big no-no. Especially when, you know, your team might just randomly sign a really good player and you might get a call from your friend about it.
Right, exactly. But so Jarmo got one of the RFAs done. Nick Blankenburg, 2 years at $1.65 million total.
Yeah. So what was it? I think like 800,000 the first year, and then
it's 825 for both years.
Oh, really? I thought for base salary.
I was just looking at cap. Oh, okay. For base salary, I think it is 800, and then
Yeah, I was going for base, but
for
like
cap hit, it's 825 both years.
So, I mean, you can't complain about a deal.
I mean, you're shoring up your defense. You just got him, you know, off of an entry level for, you know, the rest of the year. And it's like, yeah, we get to see what this kid can do.
Yeah. And, you know, we don't have much information on him. He doesn't have a prospect card for his analytics. He didn't play enough to be able to get some kind of analysis of him. So it's hard to judge in terms of the underlying numbers. All we know is what we see visibly from him on the ice. I thought he looked pretty good.
We know he works hard.
Yeah, and he had a very interesting story coming to the National Hockey League. He's a guy a year ago that I would imagine nobody would have ever have thought he could make it to the National Hockey League. He probably projected to be, you know, like
a sixth rounder or something.
Well, he was never going to get drafted because he was 22.
Undrafted. Yeah.
So like my thing is like a year ago, like he was probably a guy like once he graduated Michigan was going to be playing maybe in the American Hockey League.
I mean, we did get a bunch of overagers in this draft for one thing. in this year's draft, we did get a bunch of overagers.
Who
Just
did we
to
get?
throw to no, as a whole.
Like as a whole. Okay, so
Yes, this entire last draft did have a lot of overagers. Just to
Yeah.
throw in that point out there.
Yeah, and you know, the Blue Jackets went young in the draft, which I love.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, so this kid, like, but in a matter of a year, he plays so damn well in Michigan. He improves his game a ton, shows some goal scoring prowess,
Chemistry with Kent Johnson.
He was outstanding on the blue line, and he was the captain of the team.
Yeah.
So like,
you already can see leadership qualities.
That was a team that had Owen Power, Kent Johnson,
Luke Hughes,
Matty Beniers. Captain of that team was Nick Blankenburg.
Right.
So, you know, I think that carries a little bit of weight at how people view him. They respect him.
You have character, and just watching him, you see how much fun he has.
Yeah.
He's got like the biggest smile on the planet. I love it.
Yeah, he's I'm excited for, like, it's nice because, you know, a year ago he wasn't a part of this organization. You never would have imagined he would have been a part of this organization, but you get a player like that for free.
I mean, yeah,
you can't help but feel excited about that because, you know, obviously it was very small sample size, but looked pretty damn good.
Well, remember when we broke it, right?
Yeah.
You remember when we broke the signings? And it was like, obviously we expected Kent to sign because he, you know, being a draft pick and just waiting to get this kid to come up, right? But we were both really surprised that Blanks got the signing.
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all. I liked watching him towards the end of the year for Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
He looked really good in the tournament. But yeah, like I never would have thought that he would have been even on our radar. But for a team that struggled a ton defensively, especially on the right side,
I think that just goes to show how good Jarmo and his staff are at scouting.
Yeah, you know, you gotta analyze in a lot of different areas because it's not just, you know, scouting in, you know, Canada and overseas. You know, you got to even look at college hockey for guys who are 21, 22, maybe even 23.
High school kids here.
There's just so many areas you have. Like I am astonished that any 5th, 6th, 7th round player or undrafted player ever becomes good, because just like you have to think of all the areas you have to scout, and that's just amateur. You also have pro scouts,
right? That are
in the American Hockey League, you know, and just around the National Hockey League who go to games and stuff like that. There's so much you have.
And your pro scouts in Europe, and in the K and the S and all the other European leagues.
There's so many freaking leagues. Like, you know, people just look at like the KHL. It's not just the KHL. You got the MHL too.
You got the M and the V over there.
Yeah, and then you got like
the SHL. There's the DEL.
There's so many fucking leagues and so many players.
There's the Liga. It's like there's,
and it's like, and then you think about like, man, how in the world was Pavel Datsyuk a 6th rounder, Henrik Zennerberg a 7th rounder, and it's like, have you seen how many fucking leagues these?
It's like, look at where they play. Do you recognize where they play? No.
Like, no shit that they ended up becoming really fucking good because nobody was paying attention because they have so many other places to look.
Right, exactly. But Blanks is, you know, obviously for us, he's going to be a 2nd, 3rd pairing guy.
Depending, on what they do. Because
on what Brad does, and
I'd imagine that David Yurchik's not going to be a part of the Blue Jackets to start the season.
We'll see how camp goes, but
you'll see how camp goes. But the general sense is that whether it be going back overseas or playing in the American Hockey League, he's probably not going to start in Columbus, but he'll probably have a shot.
He'll get a cup of coffee.
He'll get a cup of coffee last 20 games, maybe post deadline.
Yeah, he'll absolutely get a call up. But having Blanks just to fill that spot, and you know, have a guarantee to fill that spot, right?
Yeah, like he's good depth to have because, like I said, the right side of the blue line's where you're absolutely the weakest, and there's so much uncertainty there.
I think this transitions into our next guy, right?
Yes.
So to shore up the right side, Yarmo made this was an early move. This was what at like after the first hour.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was around like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, because I remember I was,
and the whole fan base lit everything on fire.
Well, yeah, because I remember, and we had this conversation specifically. You texted me, and you were like, "Oh my God, we signed Erik Gudbranson," and I was like, "I don't mind that signing." I was like, he's big.
We make fun of Erik Gudbranson a little bit.
A right-hand shot defenseman.
Yes.
Who throws a lot of pucks on net, and provides something that the Blue Jackets don't really have. So I actually kind of liked the signing, and then you told me it was 4x4, and then I didn't like the signing.
Well, okay. So yes, so the signing, Erik Gudbranson is coming off of a run with the Calgary Flames, and he's a former 3rd overall pick.
Yes,
but he hasn't shown ever really kind of 3rd overall pick potential.
Yeah, I mean, him and Zach Bogosian are literally the same exact player in that they're big, right-hand shot, former 3rd overall pick, and
big burly beard men.
Big, yeah, and they fill a role.
Yes,
and I don't want to diminish the value of players like that. I've said on many occasions that they do have value. They're the players that sometimes people make fun of. Specifically in the analytics community, but
I mean, Gudbranson also has a little bit of a history. Wasn't he? Yes, he was. He was the one that Garnet Hathaway spat on.
Yeah. So
when he was a Duck.
Here's how I analyze this, okay? Because I'm a big analytics guy.
And the contract, we'll get this out of the way. The contract terms. 4 years, $16 million. So $4 million a year. He got term as a third pair, 7/8 defenseman. He got term.
Well,
and that's what everybody's up in arms about.
We view him as a 3rd pair defenseman, 7th, 8th. I can't imagine the Blue Jackets do.
No, I
can't imagine you'd give a contract like this if you didn't expect him to draw in your lineup basically every night.
Right.
So here's how I look at this. Obviously, I'm a huge analytics guy. Everybody knows that. But and analytics and Erik Gudbranson don't really go well.
No, even his counting numbers recently, like he had 1 goal in the playoff run, right? And didn't he have what? And I mean, yes, he's a defenseman. He's usually a 3rd pairing guy. Pretty sure he was playing with like Zadorov most of the year.
Which is just, that's a big bruising. What that pair is. That's a Daryl Sutter special to have those guys out there, and their job is to kick your fucking ass.
To wreck your day.
Your life absolutely miserable. So I don't know who they plan on putting Gudbranson with. They're not going to put him with Werenski. There's no doubt about that.
No.
Maybe their plan is to put him with Gavrikov. And honestly, even though that's 2nd pair minutes, which is a little bit more than I'd like to see for Erik Gudbranson, Gavrikov is a guy who absolutely could carry him a little bit.
He's a good Gavrikov is a nice like 2-way soft skill player.
He is, and but he does have some sandpaper to his game too, a little underrated.
And they both have defensive flaws, which is one thing.
Gavrikov's significantly better than him defensively. But I love Gavrikov. I think that could.
Yeah, I mean, we've both said we want Gavi signing long-term whenever we get the money.
Yeah. Maybe the plan is to put him with Bean, because Bean is, your puck handling defenseman. You know, he's a good skater, but soft, not very physical, not big. If you put them together, maybe they kind of balance each other out in that aspect.
You could put him with Blanks, maybe.
Yeah, if you wanted to do two right-handed defensemen together, you could have him and Blanks together. You can have him and Boqvist together. There's
if you wanted to do handedness, yeah.
But for me, like when I look at this, I'm like, I
always forget the whole handedness argument.
It's just,
you know what I mean? I always forget. It's like, okay, you need, because my whole thing with forgetting about the handedness always comes back to TJ Brody.
Yeah.
Because he's a left-handed shot that plays on the right.
You could play the right side. Gudbranson's always been a right side defenseman. I don't know if Blankenburg can play the left side. Maybe he can.
I was gonna say, because the Leafs are kind of doing the same thing with Rasmus Sandin, right?
It is, from my experience and from what I've noticed in hockey, it is far more common to see a left-handed defenseman be able to play the right side
than a right-handed play the left.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Generally speaking, the only time you'll see a right-hand shot defenseman on the left side is if you're on the power play.
Is Travis Dermott a left-handed shot, or is he a right? Okay,
he's the lefty who can play the right side.
Got it. Okay.
So, we'll
I'm just trying to figure out comparables, right?
Yeah, that's up for Brad to determine. So we'll see how he kind of handles that. I don't know what their plan is long term.
I would say that, I mean, no, I don't know what the long-term plan is, other than, but with Gudbranson specifically, 4 years. Yeah. 16 million. That's a lot of money.
I gotta be honest with you, Jake. It's not the money that I have a problem with, because
the money is what I have a problem with.
I disagree. It's the term.
The term does put a bad taste in my mouth.
It's the term that makes it more difficult to swallow, because if you made it a 2-year deal and you're paying him $4 million a year,
then the money,
that's okay, because in 2 years he's coming off the books,
right, and that saves you some more. Yeah,
that saves you money. That could put you in a position where maybe you can come to a 2-year deal with Laine.
Yes, and we'll talk about Patrik,
and we'll talk about that in a bit. But that gives you more, flexibility in terms of
being able to
give out. Because there was another signing we made that we'll get into later.
Actually, let's
more complicated.
Let's hit Patrik now. Okay.
Sure.
So I don't know if you watched the last Steve Dangle podcast that dropped yesterday.
I did.
With Portsline. Yeah.
Yes.
So from what I heard, because I didn't get to watch it,
I can tell you just about everything. I watched it twice.
Good. So basically, from what I heard, is the term that they're looking for is 5 or 6 years, which is what we've discussed.
Yes.
Well.
So when they say long term, we're not looking at a 7 or 8 year deal. They're looking at 5 or 6, but that's still pretty long term.
That's still a decent term, yeah.
And from what I've gathered, he said they're about $1 million or $1.5 million apart.
That's actually not as cavernous as Chris Johnston said it would be.
Yeah. So,
because I remember they were talking about him on the CJ show too.
Yeah.
And CJ said, they were like, what, a canyon apart? And
maybe a canyon apart is $1 million or $1.5 million to Patrik Laine. It all depends on your perspective, but at the end of the day, the main pitch that I think Jarmo is trying to have with Patrik Laine here is, his pitch has always been like, if you take a little bit less, it gives us more of an opportunity to provide you with more
better
skilled options to work with. And the struggle with that, especially if you're a team like Columbus, is you need to be able to actually go out and show that you can do that and actually get good players, because you look at historically, and we've talked about this a million times.
Tirelessly.
But, and we're going to talk about it again, but Panarin leaves, Carter never wanted to come. You
Bobrovsky
have to trade away Rick Nash, and there's, I think, a lot of flaws to those arguments, because There have been situations where they don't offer a contract,
Uh-huh.
which Yarmo mentioned in his presser. But you never know the official details to it. Sometimes it's a player loves the city but
Well,
wants to go and be a New York Ranger in the case of Panarin, which I totally believe. But
I
at
want
the
to
end of the
pull
day,
up a quote from Yarmo in that recent presser because this will lead us into this guy.
yeah.
This will lead us into the big story, right?
But the big thing here that I'm trying to say is you need to actually show that you can get elite talent if you're
Mhm.
going to make him take less. And Yarmo did.
Let me pull this again. I gotta find this quote. Where is it? No, not that one. It was from. I mean, I got it from Sarah Kent,
Mm-hmm.
who's a great part of the fan base. Great.
Yes.
She's awesome, and she shares a lot of like the quotes and things. Um, where is this? Because it's been maybe it's just because it's been a few days. Oh
Well,
yeah,
what is the gist of the quote? Because I watched the press conference, so
the gist of the quote is, "I think we can throw away the bullshit."
yeah, we could throw away the bullshit narrative that people don't want to play in Columbus. He said he was like, I get a rash every time
Yeah,
someone
that's the
says
best.
something negative about the city of Columbus.
Every time there's something negative or that somebody doesn't want to be here, I get a rash.
Yeah. So
Which is that's the soundbite part of it,
it's
right?
the most Yarmo quote ever, isn't it? I love Yarmo because
He's so
Yarmo,
brutally honest.
yeah, he doesn't bullshit anybody. He really doesn't.
No.
I love that guy because like he's not only has he done such a great job as the GM of the team, but
Uh-huh.
he's just so refreshing to
I
listen to
found it.
because
Okay, I found it. You want me
yeah,
to read the full quote?
yes,
I think we can finally get rid of the bullshit that this is somehow a bad destination, a bad city, whatever. Because it's never been true. We got a bad rap because a couple of people, Bobrovsky, Panarin, Duchesne, Carter, Rick, decided all along that they weren't going to be here long term for various reasons. But it's never been about the city or the organization. We've just had to shut our mouth and deal with that. But every time I see a comment like that, I get a rash.
yeah,
Jesus, this guy.
yeah. But it's true because Wednesday was so important to this organization and the city and the fans because
Yes.
of the past. It's the context that surrounds it, and the whole discussion that's being had right now. And we can finally just say it because everybody knows.
Let's reveal this. Columbus got the biggest fish on the market.
Johnny
Columbus
Gaudreau,
and Johnny Gaudreau.
Johnny Jackets, baby.
Johnny Jacket.
Johnny Ham and Cheese is now a Columbus Blue Jacket, and I am. It's the happiest. I
It's
tell you, I
literally
told you
like, yeah.
this is the happiest the Blue Jackets have made me since the sweep.
I was talking with Jason about it too, and it
Yeah,
was just like everybody's minds are blown.
because I was sitting in my basement just watching like TV, just chilling,
Yep.
and I looked down and my phone completely blown up because I wasn't on Twitter. I hadn't been on Twitter in like an hour.
Right.
And like the first text I see is from my one buddy Connor, and he's just like, Johnny's going to Columbus. And my first reaction was, oh my fucking God, did we actually give him $12 million? That was my fear. I was like, oh my God, did they actually just give this 12 million? And then he's like, the next text, he's like, they got it for under 10 million. I was like, okay, what is happening?
So yes, let's. Okay, so reactions from us, right? I was so busy. I was working. I was trying to catch up. I was doing all of this stuff.
The first thing I hope this makes you feel good about me. After I saw that text, I didn't even respond to him. I opened up, I looked on Twitter, I saw the tweet, and I immediately called you.
Oh,
I was like, holy fucking shit. There's no way that this is real.
No, because you called me right in the middle of work.
Yeah, I assumed, and I want you to know, I knew there was a very good chance you were working. I didn't care. I didn't care.
I know you did. And it was just like, I get a text that just goes, that says, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because you were that excited.
I'm so excited I misspelled God. And then I called you immediately. We talked for like maybe 50 seconds. And then I hung up because I knew you were at work. I let you go back to what you were doing, but we continued to text. I couldn't believe
because
it.
The whole time, because I was fine. I was mostly caught up. I was like, okay. But the whole rest of my shift, the whole like hour and a half that I was still there, I was having so much trouble focusing because I couldn't stop smiling.
It's just, and I tweeted this as it happened.
Oh my God.
That this is more than just getting a good player.
This is getting a franchise-changing player, Jay.
It's not even that. Do you know, to me, like when people ask me, what does this mean for the Blue Jackets? It's not just getting a, as you said, franchise-altering player. To me, it's just all the years of feeling the angst, the anxiety, like however you want to say it.
Yes.
Of Jeff Carter, Rick Nash, Ryan Johansson, Marian Gaborik, Seth Jones, Artemi Panarin, Sergei Bobrovsky, Matt Duchene. Now there's some flaws with that we've discussed many times.
A few, like Gaborik wasn't as big. Duchene was a rental. Things like that.
Exactly. There's some flaws in it, and ultimately Seth Jones not wanting to stay ended up becoming arguably the greatest trade the Blue Jackets have ever made.
Yeah, the Seth Jones trade. It's funny. I told Jason this. The Seth Jones trade is turning into Jarmo's all-timer. His version of the Duchene
it's his Duchene trade.
Yeah,
for Joe Sakic,
and then Johnny Gaudreau signing here is the all-time signing.
It is. Jake, he hasn't played a game for the Blue Jackets yet. He might be a top 5 Columbus Blue Jacket of all time just for signing this contract. He's already in the top 5. Because, like I said, you think of all those names and all these players leaving and the punchline of Columbus, nobody wants to play there and all this stuff. It's just, we've had to deal with this for 21, 22 fucking years. And it's frustrating.
I want everybody to, pay very close attention to what I'm going to say. Go watch Johnny's presser. Go watch his introductory presser. Go watch his interview with Tim from Tim and Friends.
Yeah, I watched that yesterday.
I did too. Listen to how he talks about players that he's been with, like Werenski, like Robinson, like Cam, like Prout.
Yeah.
Listen to all the players that he mentions that have talked up Columbus. Listen to how he fell in love with not the organization, the city.
Yeah. And, you and I obviously know, like most of the people who make fun of Columbus have never been there. But
right.
Adam. You know what stood out to me most about the interview with Tim and Friends and the interview with Aaron Portzline on the Steve Dangle podcast that I wasn't aware of? We've seen this before with different players who they never sell their house in Columbus. Nash never sold his house.
Right.
And now he lives in Columbus.
Cam is there. Cam was there.
I didn't know that. I did not know that he didn't sell his house in Columbus. I would have just assumed that he moved to Philly because he's still got several years on his contract.
Dude, Cam was there the day that Johnny arrived.
Exactly. I wasn't aware of that until I saw that photo and listened to some interviews. That tells you everything you need to know about the city of Columbus, that players, they buy a house there. And even if they get traded away to another team, they don't sell it because they plan on living there for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And I think back to one signing that didn't work out for us for the most unfortunate reason of all time. Nathan Horton.
Yeah.
And
God.
it sucked that it didn't, but I remember the joy that I felt because of the same exact reason, because it was fresh off of Jeff Carter and Rick Nash. So like that was awesome to see a player want to come. It sucked that he had the injury and he couldn't play again.
Right.
You can never predict that, but
No.
the reason that he signed in Columbus, and he said it many times, is he's like, this is an awesome place to raise a family.
Johnny called it an underrated gem.
And it's not lost on me that Johnny Gaudreau's wife is pregnant and they want
right. This is part of, so
this is very much a part of it.
This is going to tell us, we can talk about a little bit why he didn't choose Jersey, why he didn't choose Philly, why he didn't go closer to home. The biggest thing is you don't have to be right there.
No, and I agree with that. I think that's the thing that people misinterpreted in all of it was, well, why didn't he go to the Devils? Or they wanted to go closer. Was he going to Columbus? Well, he didn't say guys, he's not.
And can I just say that
he's not moving back in with his parents. Okay.
We're a couple of days into this. This is what, day 4 of free agency. Who knows who's going to sign today? And we're going to talk about the big guys that are still left. But we're 3 days past this signing. There are a lot of fans that are still upset.
Yeah, and I want everybody to know, like, if you're a Calgary fan,
if you're a Flames fan, yes,
trust. Yeah, if anybody gets this, it's us.
Yeah,
we know how this feels. We felt it far too many times,
and I'm sure
I get it, and I do feel for Flames fans. I do.
I'm sure Islanders fans feel the same way because of John Tavares.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about the Islanders.
But at the same time, I get their side of it too.
I get theirs
because I feel like
the Islanders.
I feel like Johnny leaving Calgary is like John Tavares leaving the island.
It's very similar because it's you drafted the player, you develop the player, you watch them grow up.
He says he wants to stay, and then at the 11th hour, he changes his mind.
And let's be real here. I don't think that John Tavares changed his mind. I don't think that Johnny Gaudreau changed his mind. They weren't coming back. And for fans, that sucks. It sucks. We at least had the fortune of Panarin telling us.
Right.
I give him a lot of credit for that.
And I think that helps ease the blow. Yes, it was a messy breakup, but at the same time, it's not as messy as Tavares, as some of the others.
Because, we never really had too much hope of him coming back because he said that he wasn't going to. Whereas with Calgary, it's like they're offering him more and more money, and they're offering him the full 8 years, and they're
offering $17 million.
It's like, holy fucking shit. Like, they are offering so much money to keep this guy because they really want to keep him. And then he decides to leave. Mm-hmm. You hold on to that hope to the 11th hour. And then once, you can't offer him 8 years anymore, you kind of know that you're out of it. Right. So I get it. For Calgary fans, I want them to know, if they're listening, like, I get it.
Yes.
It sucks. And I do feel the sympathy for Flames fans because it's a good fan base. It's a really good fan base.
It's such a passionate fan base.
And like I said, we know how that feels, but at the same time, I can't help but feel happy for us because this is something we've been waiting for fucking ever.
This is something. This changes so many perceptions about this team.
Yeah.
This is the one kind of move that's kind of been missing.
Yeah. And it's a move that you can't blame Jarmo for not being able to make. Jarmo's always tried to make those big swings. He didn't offer Sheep Mitch Marner, but he discussed it with him. He had discussions with Alex Pietrangelo before he went to Vegas. He's always someone who tries to make that big swing. Right. And I think it's because he knows in the long run that that's important to try and change that narrative about Columbus because it helps a lot in developing a team.
Right. And attracting Johnny is absolutely going to help attract more and more big pieces.
And it's at this point to me, it's not even for us about.
It's not even just
attracting
huge pieces
free
anymore.
agents. It's not about attracting free agents. And to me, what it does is it helps you keep other players.
It keeps other players.
You want to keep Patrik Laine. What better,
give him like
chip than being like, hey,
give him
you can play with JOHNNY fucking Gaudreau. I don't know if you know this. He was second in the league in scoring last year.
And he's one of the best playmakers in the entire league.
He almost had an assist per game.
He put up 40 goals as well.
Yeah.
He put up 115 points.
Mm-hmm. He almost would have been a point per game player last year, even if he didn't score a single goal.
Arguably on the best line in hockey.
Yeah.
Through the last year.
He was the one driving most of it. Now, and that's not to take credit away from Lindholm or Tkachuk, who are obviously both great players.
Yes.
But Johnny's the most important.
Johnny's the cog in the wheel. Yeah. It's like, yeah. And you watch him put on that jersey for the first time. You see the promotional material. One thing that I'll say is the jersey ads I got to be okay with now. And kind of everybody has to. Because you look at what Columbus did with Safelite. It's barely noticeable. That's
what I've always said is like, if you look at the jerseys themselves, you notice the ads. But when you're watching the game, you don't notice them.
Right. And it's like you look at the still image and it's like, it looks clean. It looks fine.
Yeah, the Safelite look, because it's all white.
Right.
And it mixes in well with what the Blue Jackets jersey is because white's obviously
a part of the, yeah.
So like it looks clean. Like I don't mind it at all, to be honest with you.
And the smile on Johnny's face.
Yeah.
I made the, you know that TikTok of the cat walking down?
No.
Where the woman's like, here comes the boy. Come here, boy. There he is. You
should have sent this to me before we did the podcast. So I would have known.
I did, and you never watched it.
You should have told me to watch it.
Should have fucking watched it.
When did you send that to me? I don't remember this.
I'm pretty sure I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah, you sent it to me. Okay, never mind. Okay, so it's not your fault. I'm just an asshole.
That is exactly how I feel about JOHNNY GAUDREAU coming to Columbus. Like,
is that not the most Jay interaction ever?
That is absolutely.
How did you not get this reference? I sent it to you.
I just because you are the worst texter on the fucking planet.
Yes.
I love you to death, but like when I have to send you 10 things before you send me one.
That's how I am. I mean, I'm terrible with it. You know why? Because like I'll see it and I'll be like, yeah, I have a response to this. I'm going to respond to this in a second when I'm doing something. And then like, I just forget to.
So we've talked about Columbus's side of this and how huge this is. Mm-hmm. We've talked about Calgary's side of this and how, at least a part of it where it's like, we understand their pain.
Yes.
A couple more things I want to get to with Johnny. One is, y'all better be ready for December and January because I texted you this and you asked me why.
Yeah.
December 9th and January 23rd. Mm-hmm. First one is in Columbus. Second one is Johnny's return to Calgary.
Yeah.
Those are going to be huge, huge games to watch, people.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of boos in Calgary.
I don't know.
I think people were
by then. I don't know.
Yeah. It's nothing against Calgary. I get it. It's the frustration of a player leave. Like think about it. Like people still booed Panarin even though he told us he was going to leave.
Right.
People booed.
People booed Seth.
People booed Seth. People booed Rick Nash. And then, people really booed Tavares.
They did more than that.
It's a Canadian market.
Mm-hmm.
They're passionate about their team, and they just lost a really fucking good hockey player.
They just lost one of their franchise guys. Technically, two, if you count Monahan and his offseason surgery, which, that's...
Yeah. And he hasn't been the same player for a while, so I wonder what this means for him.
I wonder what it means for Monahan, and that's one thing. But the other question I have for you is, what does this mean for Matt Tkachuk? Because he's an RFA.
Yeah.
He's a restricted free agent.
Part of me, I'm not gonna lie, I love Patrik Laine.
Uh-huh.
Part of me has thought, like, what if Jarmo called up Brad Treliving
again?
You know, what if
because
you want to make a Laine for Tkachuk swap? We'll give you some extra pieces, because could you fucking imagine if they got Matthew Tkachuk to play with Gaudreau?
And they got Laine to play with Lindholm?
Yeah, I mean, hey.
I don't know, because we made jokes about how we think Gudbranson helped bring Gaudreau in, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's actually true. It's just it's the joke of it.
It's just it's a nice coincidence, right?
It is. It's a nice coincidence that Columbus signs 2 free agents, and they're both from Calgary.
Right, they're both just coming out. Yeah. But like I just processed. Yeah, Matt Tkachuk's a restricted free agent, and
so is Patrik Laine.
So is Patrik Laine.
Just say it.
We know that Patty wants to stay.
Yeah.
And we know, like, do you think this is gonna sour the relationship that Matt has with Treliving? Right. That's
yes.
It has to on some level, right? Because he just lost like a best friend and a line mate.
Yeah.
Monahan lost his best friend in the whole world.
I wouldn't be surprised if he re-signs in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any chance he does anything long term.
No, I
get the sense that his goal now becomes
get me to UFA and get me out of here.
Yeah. Either that, or let's figure out a trade where I can go somewhere I want to be long term. Now,
right.
The 2 biggest locations that people bring up for the obvious reasons are, one is St. Louis,
mm-hmm.
because he's from St. Louis. His dad's from St. Louis. He played for the Blues.
Yep.
And then the second is Ottawa,
because Brady's there.
Brady. I have to wonder if there's ever been any thoughts on his mind of still want to play with Johnny. I doubt it happens. I really do doubt it happens. But at the same time, Jake, I never thought for a second that we were going to get Johnny Gaudreau.
No, I don't think.
Even when we offered the contract, my instant reaction was, "Oh, that's smart from Jarmo trying to drive up the price."
Dude, Jay, listen to me. Like I said, nobody expected this, because even today, fans are still upset.
Yeah.
Devils fans, they just got Andre Palat. They're still upset that they didn't get Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, I'm in a group chat with a bunch of Devils fans. They are fucking livid. But
meanwhile,
Neil helped the blow a little.
Neil and Alex have tweeted at me going like, "Dude, congrats, man."
That is the one thing that's been really nice in this process is, like I said, I have I'm in a group chat with Alex and a bunch of other Devils fans.
And we network with Devils
fans
guys
in there.
Yeah.
There's some Flyers fans in there, and in the midst, because when he signed, Palat hadn't signed yet. So in the midst of Devils fans getting, in their minds, spurned by Johnny Gaudreau and being pissed off by it, not a single one of them said a mean word to me or anything like that. They were all happy for me, which is, it's nice to see, like, people, like, even like when a moment like that happens where you're hoping for Johnny Gaudreau, like a lot of Devils fans are basing their entire offseason on if they get him or not, because they didn't get to brink it. They didn't draft Shane Wright.
Yep.
A lot of them were like, we have to sign Johnny Gaudreau. The only way this offseason can be a success is if we get Johnny Gaudreau. So they're all pissed. And they still were all super nice and kind to me and happy for, which was really nice. I love the Devils fan base. It's one of my favorites in hockey. But it becomes interesting. I like Palat to the Devils. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on at some point.
Because there are other free agency things that I want to hit. But Johnny, I mean, the majority of the show is freaking Johnny. because
it is, and it should be. This is the Johnny Gaudreau show, as far as I'm concerned. It like.
And
We
because
can
we
talk
already
about
kind
so
of,
many different elements of what this means to the Columbus Blue Jackets organization, the fan base, the city, yada yada yada. You know what I think back to? One of the first things that I just visually thought of in my mind when he signed was in 2015 in the All-Star weekend. Johnny Gaudreau's first All-Star appearance. It was in Columbus, so he had a weekend to kind of see the city, experience the fans a little bit, walk around, see different things about the city. You know, the biggest memory for Johnny Gaudreau that weekend was the shootout thing where Ryan Johansson brings out his kid during the shootout and he scores, and then Jake Voracek takes him like he's a little kid
who's now his teammate.
That's the first thing I thought of, and I don't know if the All-Star game really had any impact on it, but even if it just had a 1% impact on his decision, if memories from the All-Star weekend had any boost to him wanting to sign with Columbus, is it not the most unfortunate or most fortunate thing of all time? Because if you remember, the All-Star game was supposed to be in Columbus in 2013, but that was the lockout shortened season.
Right.
So it got pushed back to 2015.
Yep.
So if it gets pushed back to 2015 and that has any impact in him and his love for Columbus and wanting to come to Columbus, then how fucking fortunate is that?
Yeah, and Lord knows now he's got plenty of time to get used to the cannon.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time. He talked about that. It was funny in his
so
press.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. I'm excited for
Johnny.
God. I'm excited for him.
Johnny Hockey is a Columbus Blue Jacket.
Yeah, I cannot believe it.
I want to know now that because KJ had to give up 13, right?
They had a discussion.
They did, yeah. So I wonder what KJ is going to wear. And we've texted about this. I want to see him wear 15.
Yeah, I said that too. I think 15 makes the most amount of sense. That's available. So
Jason said 16.
16 is fine too.
Well, that's the thing is like aesthetically, like I think a line of 13, 15, 29. Does that not look just gorgeous?
No, you have to have 28 with them because 15 plus 13 is 28.
That was the other thing is people were talking about the freaking
with Yorkshire, but yeah. I don't know what the future is as far as Laine is concerned, but I'm excited about this because
we talked about Laine, the term. We talked about the term. We talked about all of this. Was there anything else from Portsy that you wanted to bring up on the Laine front?
Yes, I wanted to bring up what he said, how he started this. You watched it, right? No, you didn't.
Gotten a chance to watch it. No,
you need to watch it. It's fucking hilarious how he starts.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
He said basically the last 3 days have been just people texting him and being like, "So why Columbus?" And he's like,
"Right.
Well, his wife is pregnant."
Dude, people are still asking why Columbus.
Yeah. So this is what he said. This is hilarious. He's like, well, you know, his wife's pregnant. It's a great place to raise a family. He really likes the family atmosphere about it. So that played a big factor. Okay. So, but why Columbus? Well, I mean, you know, he's been talking to a bunch of people who are currently on the team. He knows them. Former players who say a lot of really good things about the team. And
he went to high school with Robinson. He's going to be at his wedding party this summer.
A big part of it. And they're like, oh, okay. But why the Blue Jackets? He's like, that's how it's been for him, is like, he'll give it as many explanations as possible. And people will be like, so we just don't know why you picked Columbus.
It's like they putting blinders on.
Yeah. People are so blinded by the narrative that's been created in Columbus. And
did you see the 10 TV thing with CBC Calgary?
Yeah, that was fucking cool.
That was such a good
was fun. That was really funny. But
everybody go look up the CBC Calgary with what is his name? Adam Brown.
Yeah.
Go look up the Adam Brown story from the last couple of days. It's so funny.
I don't know how much this plays a factor into it, but I've always thought and been of the opinion with the Columbus Blue Jackets, as far as free agency is concerned, one of the draws that should come to playing with the Blue Jackets, if you're a player like a Johnny Gaudreau, and I don't know if this factored in at all, maybe it could have, is this thought of, this is an organization that's been around for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've only won one playoff run. They did beat
technically two.
Yeah, but not a lot of success in the franchise's history. A lot of players who leave. You could have, you can build your legacy off of being the person who chose Columbus.
Right.
And, if Johnny Gaudreau signs his contract and finishes his career with Columbus, this is the last team he plays for. Let's say for that. Or even if he plays for like one more team, if he's traded in the last year of his contract as a deadline, whatever.
Yeah.
He is still like
because he signed till he's 35.
Him signing this contract
to play from 28 years old to 35.
Does
so
he not
it's
already,
his whole prime.
Is it not almost guaranteed that his number's going to be in the rafters next to Rick Nash already?
I don't want to think about it that far, but at the same time,
like you have to think like that's got to be a part of it, right?
And Jake, dude, these last few days have felt like a dream.
Yeah. You've asked this question before to me. Who is the next Hall of Famer from the Blue Jackets whose career will be known for being a Blue Jacket?
And you said Bobrovsky.
I said I said there's two options. Rick Nash or Sergei Bobrovsky. Those are the only two viable options. And I don't think Rick Nash is a Hall of Famer. I don't think he has enough in his career.
No,
because of some of the injuries.
Not.
Just because he missed some time with injuries and stuff like that. So like there's just not enough games played and points to be there. I said Bobrovsky's probably got a chance because he's going to be known at the end of his career for being a Blue Jacket because that's where he won 2 Vezina trophies.
Yep.
But I don't know. It depends on how long he plays, etc. Well, the answer just changed. The player who will be known for being a Columbus Blue Jacket, who has the best chance of being a Hockey Hall of Famer, is Johnny Gaudreau.
That's so wild.
He is a point per game player. He's played 602 games. He has 609 points.
Yep, he's over a point a game in his career.
He will easily make it over 1,000 games played for his career. He will probably
play his 1,000th game here.
Yeah, he will probably be over 1,000 points for his career. He is a 6-time All-Star. He was part of the All-Rookie team. He was second in the NHL this year in scoring. He's had some really, really good iconic moments.
Dude, the one that I keep coming back to is him dancing through that whole Kings roster to set up Monahan.
Yeah, and this year he provided one when he scored the game winner in Game 7.
Yep.
Because there's been a lot of questions about this guy in Calgary, specifically about his playoff performance. Is this guy a playoff performer? Which I always thought was kind of bullshit because
the artillery guys brought up his statistics over the last few runs, and he's fine.
Yeah, like I've always thought that was a bullshit narrative, but he put it away because he had the big goal that he scored on I can't remember what game it was, but penalty shot goal on Ottinger to put the game away, helped the Flames win one. And then the game winner in Game 7, this guy
biggest goal of his career. Yeah,
biggest goal of his career. He's a really great player. He's got a good shot, but he's an unbelievable playmaker.
He drives play like a center, but he does it from the wing.
Yes. His vision's outstanding. Underrated defensively.
He's just
he's not a liability by any means defensively. He does not give up defense to get offense.
We call Patty a superstar, and he is.
Yeah.
Because of his shot, his underrated playmaking, all of this stuff. Johnny Gaudreau is a bona fide superstar in this league.
As I just said, second in the league in scoring.
And he
chose who was the only player he was behind this year in scoring?
Austin, right? Or no way. It's got to be Connor.
Connor McDavid. Ever heard of him?
He's some scrub.
Oh no, he didn't beat out Connor fucking McDavid.
I was gonna say, I thought that he was third this year.
He was tied for second.
For second? Okay.
With a guy named Jonathan Huberdeau. Ever heard of
Oh,
him?
right. Yeah. I forgot Hubie had that because, yeah, I keep forgetting about Huberto's season 2. Oh, my God.
I feel so bad for Jonathan Huberdeau and Johnny Gaudreau and the fact that they had fucking unbelievable seasons and nobody's talking about either of them because of Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews
Exactly.
and Draisaitl.
And Leon, yeah. But dude, just the fact that he chose us is the biggest thing that we rehash these points because it's like it's still, I don't know why this is taking so much to process.
Because it became unfathomable to us because of our experiences in the past with the guys that we have mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
We've been so used to players leaving that the thought of a great player coming just never crossed our mind.
Right. Coming and wanting to stay.
We based our entire offseason, like the big goal, what was it this offseason?
Patrick.
Yes. It's just extend Patrik Laine for if no other reason, just to have back-to-back off seasons where you extended players like Zach Werenski and Patrik Laine to show everybody that the narrative that people don't want to be here is bullshit. And rather than extending Patrik Laine, you almost said, "Oh wait, you want me to go out and get the top dog in free agency?"
Yeah,
we didn't ask for it, but we're not going to complain.
No.
And the big thing for
now,
me is
it's
not just getting him. What is surprising?
It's getting him
less
for
than $10 million.
It's the money, yes.
Yeah,
because locking him up for the term is one thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was always going to get a 7-year deal in free agency. He was never going to accept less. But like, I thought, like, if you would have told me on Wednesday after I saw that report that the Blue Jackets are getting Johnny Gaudreau, I would have been like, $12 million is a lot of
shilling
money.
out literally all the cap space.
Yeah, you're shelling out all the cap space, which isn't the smartest decision. No team has ever won the Stanley Cup with a player making more than $10 million against the cap. But at the same time, like, it might be worth it because it's big to get a player like that.
Right.
It never crossed my mind.
But the
for
fact
a second that he would join the Blue Jackets
on a discount.
Yeah, because he was offered an 8-year deal worth $84 million, and he took a 7-year deal worth $68 million. He left a lot of money on the table to come to Columbus.
And it helps that, so obviously his wife is expecting, and she's also a nurse, and we have Nationwide Children's Hospital. So she could probably get a.
Yeah, that was an interesting tweet that I saw because a lot of people were wondering, again, why Columbus? Well, that makes sense because she is, as you said, a nurse. So, like, I think that fits.
She can get an easy job here.
She might already have one.
If she doesn't already have it, yeah.
Because and they what was it like? They made like a $50 million donation.
They already. Yep.
So, and that's obviously, the naming rights for the arena. But also, it didn't factor into his decision, but, that they are making upgrades to the facilities in Columbus. They're going to be top notch. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in Columbus right now. I'm so happy.
And it's sad that like outlets like ours, like the artillery guys, like Columbus centric media is the only one talking about it.
Yeah. I think like the one thing that I want to say about all of this is all the time, the energy and the effort, specifically for you, because you put in a lot more than I do. But like we think about all the hours of prep and stuff that we've done for this show.
Yep.
It's moments like this that make it worth it.
Oh yeah.
Like every show is great. I love doing the show with you.
I love hanging out with
moments
you.
Like, it's moments like this that's like it makes it so special.
When we get to talk about a big moment like this and just gush about this guy for over an hour.
Yeah. That like it's the dream to be able to talk about something like this. This is what we've wanted, you know.
I haven't. This smile hasn't left my face.
Same.
But yeah.
I was so giddy. I still am, but I remember just I didn't do anything for the rest of the night on Wednesday. The first thing I did was I was texting people. And then like an hour after it, I still couldn't believe it. The first thing I did was I probably watched 3 or 4 hours worth of Johnny Gaudreau highlights. All the way back to his rookie year. And then a couple years ago, this year, I watched highlights of him at Boston College.
I had to explain to my parents, like, no, this guy is a superstar. He put up over 100 points. He put up 40 goals. This guy is a huge change.
Yeah. You know, it's and Portsline said it best on the Steve Dingle podcast. He's like the last thing the Blue Jackets need is another left winger, but every team can use a Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah.
So and now you adjust accordingly. And
he's no longer Johnny Hockey, he is Johnny Jacket.
Yeah. He's Johnny Jackets, hopefully for life.
Let's talk about
I know what my next jersey is.
Dude, they've already sold season tickets by the millions on upgrades, like just over the last 2 days.
Yeah, I'm sure they've made so much fucking money off of this already.
And they've discounted custom jerseys, so you can get a Gaudreau jersey for like 20% off.
Yeah, I saw that when I tried to make a custom jersey because I didn't have Gaudreau yet, and then they gave me, I think it was like $50 off.
It's like 20% or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
it's a huge discount.
I was like, oh fuck, holy shit. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So let's talk about Patty real quick, and then we're gonna get into everybody else. So 5-6 years for Patrik is the benchmark that everybody's looking at. The big thing, though, that we haven't discussed with Patrik is what they need to do now to clear things up. Now that Johnny signed.
And Gudbranson, too, plays big.
And Gudbranson, we talked about, is a huge monkey wrench in that, in terms of the money.
Yes. Gigantic.
And like, don't get me wrong, Gudbranson's going to be nice for the team in the long run in terms of just the role he's going to play. I'm starting to warm up to the Gudbranson signing.
Yeah, I'm never going to warm up to the fact that it's 4 years or $4 million.
No.
But I'm not anti-Erik Gudbranson because, like I've said, you know, even though he's not an analytical guy, there's, like I've always said, as much as I love analytics, they're not the be-all, end-all.
There's stuff that he's going to bring to this team that they need.
That analytics can't identify.
Yes,
and I know that. And Jarmo said that in his press conference. I don't know if you watched this press conference talking about Gudbranson.
I didn't watch the Goody one, no.
The big quote that he had is, he says, "We trust our analytics department. Mm-hmm. We embrace analytics. We love analytics, but you know, we understand that there's things that analytics can't identify.
Right.
And one of them is intangibles, and that's what Erik Gudbranson brings. And I agree with that. I don't want him playing in the top 4, but as a third pair defenseman, we saw last year in Calgary, he did pretty damn well in it.
Right.
He drove offense at a pretty decent rate, better than he ever has in his career, at least for the last 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. His defensive numbers were not great, but they went up. But more than anything, Erik Gudbranson is a very, very good teammate. From what we've heard, everyone says great things about him. He's great in the locker room, and he's big, physical, ruins your life, and that is an element to the Blue Jackets defense that they don't have anywhere.
Right.
I like the future for the Columbus Blue Jackets on defense with the guys we have currently. I mentioned, you know, we obviously know Werenski. You know, hopefully they can lock up Gavrikov. And then you've got like these potential guys. We talked about Blankenburg earlier, Boakfist extended, Bean. But what they all have what they all have in common here is
they're soft skill guys.
Soft skill and smaller. They lack size.
And Gudbranson brings a lot of size. He's a big boy.
Huge. And the reason, like I say that, it's hard to identify the value of a deal like this is because he brings more off the ice than
on,
realized by a lot
right.
of people. Is because if he can have any impact on making Andrew Peak tougher,
Yep.
making Boakfist harder to play against,
making Bean harder to play against.
to play against. Werenski's never going to be that guy. He doesn't have to be.
No.
Gavrikov's already kind of got that in him.
He's got enough of an edge.
If he can help David Jiricek in a year or two with that, then Matichuk with that in a year or two, Stanislav Svozil or Samuel Nasco, or there's a lot of other guys.
There's so much in the defensive prospect pool.
Jay Christensen.
Have you people? I want the hardcores that listen to this to go in and just look at the defensive prospects that this team has gotten over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
and look at just how full the defense prospects are.
Yeah,
how much Jarmo's focused on defense.
and you could tell why, because last year the Blue Jackets were the worst defensive team in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, objectively speaking, you look at the numbers, they were the worst defensive team in hockey. That's part of why we give a pass to Elvis, along with the other unfortunate circumstances that he had to deal with in the offseason.
Right.
A 907 save percentage in those circumstances, I think is pretty damn good.
It's fine.
I think you can live with a 907 save percentage if you have the worst defense in fucking hockey, along with the other shit that he had to go through. I know that Elvis is a true number one goaltender. So, the future's bright for the Blue Jackets on defense. It's
and now they have a guy like Gudbranson that can lead them there in one way, shape, or form.
So that's what I can live with this deal. It's just the back half of it's going to be what's tougher to navigate, because that's when the prospects that we talk about that we like, that's when they're going to be coming up and our defense is going to improve. He's not going to have that role anymore. He's going to become expendable.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to move him. It's going to be hard to.
Right.
But for Laine's case,
the money right now, in terms of, so if you look at the base salary cap right now,
yes,
it says $3 million. If you look at Cap Friendly, it says $3 million. Right. But from what I've learned over the last couple of days, if you account for guys like Carson Meyer, like Matthew Olivier, and like Gavin Bayreuther, guys that you can bury their contracts, it's more like 8 right now.
Really?
More or less. You could probably free up upwards of maybe 5 to 8, depending on guys that you can send to the minors.
Interesting. Because I'm looking at this right now. I say, so you got JOHNNY GAUDREAU. He's got the no move clause, which is nice.
And there will have to be a trade made, which we've discussed off this show plenty. And the odd man out is probably Gustav Nyquist.
Yeah, Gus Nyquist is making up 6.7% of your cap. He makes $5.5 million. It should be a little bit easier to trade because he's only making $5 million in terms of base salary. There's no bonuses for this year. So one option that becomes available would be the Ducks. They're a team that, they need players who make money.
They need to make the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not near the floor. So do you have to attach draft pick to it? Do you have to give them a 3rd round pick to make it happen? You might.
Maybe.
I think it's worth it. Just to look, Gus was a good Blue Jacket.
Great Blue Jacket.
I liked him a lot. Because in the midst of, I think what gets lost is in the midst of Panarin and Duchesne and Bobrovsky and all these other guys leaving in the 2019 off season.
Gus stayed.
Well, he didn't stay. He came.
Yeah. He was. Yeah.
So that was, he was kind of the
we talk
consolation prize.
We talk about Gaudreau coming and choosing. Gus Nyquist chose us too,
which was really nice, and I liked him a lot. It's just that he becomes
expendable. Yeah.
Because of what we have, which is unfortunate because I like him as a player. But
oh yeah, he's a great player. He's a good presence. There's a reason why he wore an A this year.
Yeah. I wish him the best of luck elsewhere. Because
whenever this gets done, because he is still a Blue Jacket until he's not.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that going into
like
opening night that he will still be a part of this organization. I just don't see it.
He's the odd man out, which is unfortunate. But you got to at least start with something like that in order to free enough money to make this 5 to 6 year deal for Laine work.
Yeah. So, you look on defense.
There was a proposal that you made, in our text messages. That was what? If Jarmo can convince him to sign like a 2-year, right? Can you go into that real quick?
A 2-year deal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my thought process was if you can trade Guess Nyquist and just get rid of his salary, you could come up with a 2-year deal with Patrik Laine, a bridge deal that I'm pretty sure would give him. I don't think he'd be a UFA by the end of it.
I don't know.
But just if you give him a 2-year bridge deal, what it would give you the opportunity to is, you're not paying him a ton to start. You'd probably I would say probably around what he made this year, like 7.5, maybe 8.
Because his qualifier is 7.5, and that's extended. So, that's on the table.
Yeah. I think that would be smart because if you get a 2-year deal done in 2 years, Jake Voracek's contract ends.
Yes.
And
then you can kind of just replace Jake with Johnny and.
Exactly. So, and who knows, maybe the other solution to this is he just accepts his qualifying offer. So he just plays under 7.5, which, you could get rid of Gus Nyquist and you'd be fine.
You'd still be fine. Yeah.
You'd still be fine. And the result of it is, okay, you're just going to play on another 1-year deal. We'll try to come up with an extension soon. But our goal this next off season is to trade the last year of Jake Voracek's contract so we can get the long-term deal done.
So we can get room for you. Yes.
There's different options here.
There's, and I mean, we trust Jarmo. We're smart enough to trust Jarmo Kekalainen.
Jarmo has. There's no reason in my mind not to trust Jarmo Kekalainen.
He's a fucking wizard.
He is.
And that just shows with the guy that we keep coming back to, the guy that's the staple of today's show. Columbus got JOHNNY GAUDREAU.
Yeah.
Dude, how are we not screaming about this more still?
Can I be honest with you? The other thing that's pissing me off about the whole
how are we not, seriously?
People are keeping who's going to be his center? Is it going to be Jack Roslovic? It's like, okay, you obviously don't pay attention to the Blue Jackets because Jack Roslovic played more wing than he played center this year.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe the answer to who's his center going to be is, yeah, sure, he might not have a great center to play with in his first year
to start,
with Columbus.
yeah.
But I don't know if you know this. Cole Cylinder's pretty good. Kent Johnson was the 5th overall pick.
Yeah, and he's
going to be in the cards to play with.
He's going to be here a long time.
Yeah. And what other players did Columbus have? Well, Bjorkstrand signed long term. And I'm just looking at the forwards right now. You also got Yegor Chinnikov. You got Kirill Marchenko coming over.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Marchenko's here.
Yeah. And even if he doesn't play center and he's just playing wing, Jack Roslovic's still pretty fucking good.
Yeah, even on the wing.
Jake Voracek's probably not going to be here long term, but Jake Voracek is pretty good at hockey. Don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this narrative that who's he going to play with in Columbus? Well, the defense isn't very good right now. It's got a good future, but it's not very good right now. But that's not his problem. His problem is who's he working with. Forwards. The Blue Jackets, they were fine offensively last year.
The Blue Jackets have so many underrated forwards because people don't pay attention to the market. Dude, Oliver is my guy. I have his jersey.
Oliver, yeah,
and he's been named. He has been named by players one of the most underrated players in the entire NHL.
Yes. He doesn't get the attention he deserves. If he played in a bigger market, Do you know? Personally, I think he's better than Tyler Toffoli, and
Could be, could be.
I think he is. And people know who Tyler Toffoli is. Why? Well, because he played in LA and Montreal
And Calgary.
Yeah. If
He
Bjorkstrand
played with
for
Johnny
LA,
Gaudreau.
or, yeah, if he played for LA, if he played in, he also played a little bit in Vancouver too. Kind of strange to think about.
I was going to say that the Vancouver Toffoli was nice too.
That's the thing. So you think about Tyler Toffoli, he's played for 3 fucking Canadian teams in his career. So as a result, people look at him and they recognize who he is. And the one American team he played for, he won 2 cups with. So like,
and it was a huge market because it's Los Angeles.
It's Los Angeles. So like, if Johnny Gaudreau played for the Kings or the Flames or the Canucks or the Canadiens, he would have the same amount, if not more, recognition than Tyler Toffoli.
We say if as if he didn't spend his entire career up to this point in Calgary. Johnny.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he got plenty of attention because he spent a lot of time in Calgary.
Yeah.
But, it's not like he moved a lot like Tyler. And like you said, he played in larger markets than Calgary, but he also did play in more Canadian markets that got him. I think the fact that Tyler moved to give him more exposure is a factor in that.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. And the fact that he has won multiple Stanley Cups also.
And the 2 cups.
But like, I think the two biggest examples of players not getting nearly enough media attention.
So who's he going to play with? I don't know. Johnny on the left, Patty on the right, KJ sometime in the middle is like the biggest thing that we want.
Yeah.
He could start with Boone. He could start with Cole.
Lost in all of it. Where does Liam Foudy fit in this roster?
Where does Liam Foudy fit in that now? Yeah.
You've already got Corrali locked in as your 3rd/4th line center. Justin Danforth too.
Justin Danforth is locked in there to the bottom 6. Alex Texier is here.
Alex Texier, yeah. Like, people talk like the Blue Jackets don't have any centers. They don't have a number 1 right now, but they got 2 guys who could eventually become a number 1.
They don't have a bona fide number 1, but yeah.
But they have a lot of versatility there. And I know that Boone Jenner's not a number 1 center. He kind of played like one last year. We'll have to see if that repeats.
Right.
But offensively speaking, he's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So.
And he drove play, and now that's Johnny's job.
He drove offense really fucking well with Voracek, and they were a big part of Laine's success because Laine didn't have to drive offense on his own. They set him up.
Right. And now he's got Johnny for that, and Boone can do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's nice because now you can start with Boone because you know how Boone is physical and he can drive offense.
Yeah.
From the center position. You have Johnny, who's a more soft-skilled winger, but he drives offense from the wing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Patrik over there that can finish.
Yeah.
And so you have... Yeah.
How appropriate.
How appropriate. But yeah, so we'll see what they do with Patty. We know what the idea is.
Yes.
It's the now idea, just...
Like, I know I mentioned, like, maybe Matthew Tkachuk. Like, I'm mostly kidding when I say that because it's not
right.
Happen. The long-term plan is they didn't just get Johnny Gaudreau for the sake of getting Johnny Gaudreau. They got him because he's an elite player and he can play with Patrik Laine.
Can we bring up Jacob's tweet?
No, Can we bring
up Voracek's tweet?
Voracek's tweet was hilarious because
it was so Steve Simmons tweeted something stupid because Steve Simmons always tweets bad takes. He tweeted something like, why, he tweeted the ultimate question that's still getting asked. Why did Johnny choose Columbus? Right?
He said, could someone please explain Johnny Hockey to Columbus? He left a line with Elias Lindholm and Matt Tkachuk for what? And Voracek quote tweeted it and said, number 29.
It just if you can't watch it, it's we put up the thinking face, right? Like, but that's exactly it. It's like, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know. He could also play with you, Jake. And dude,
Yeah.
if you have,
Here's the thing. I know that it can't work because none of them are centers. None of them do faceoffs.
right?
But like, it would be kind of fun just to imagine a line of Patrik Laine, Johnny Gaudreau, and Jake Voracek.
I know.
It wouldn't work because none of them play center, but if one
Right.
of them did, that line would be fucking gross.
It would be so good. Literally, like just the way the puck would zip around. Okay. Oh my God. I think we've gushed about our guys for long enough, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about.
I disagree. I think we should gush over.
We should just go over 2 hours just on our guys.
Yeah.
Make it a 2.5 hour show.
Deserve it.
We deserve a really long show. So yeah, I think the biggest thing now is just to wait it out because we know obviously the Finnish connection helps between Jarmo and Patrik.
Mm-hmm.
That's really just kind of a small wrinkle, but at the same time, it does kind of help. And now the biggest thing is we know what both sides want. The biggest thing is just getting to bridge the money gap, right?
Yeah.
Bridge the money gap, put the pen to paper. Let's get this thing done. Let's get this season rolling. Johnny Hockey, Patrik Laine, throw a young guy in the middle or throw Boone in there. I don't care.
Look,
dude,
part of me,
this is probably the most excited I've been for a season in a long time.
Part of me almost wonders if maybe they should consider having the second line just be Laine, Boone, and Voracek, and then have your top line be Johnny Hockey, Kent Johnson, and Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Ooh, that too. Oh, that's
what I like about this is there's so much versatility because there's so much you can do.
Yes.
You're not pigeonholed into having to keep Laine with.
You don't have to lock Johnny.
Yeah. You don't have to lock him into anything specific. You can roll the lines a little bit here and change things up and give you a few different looks, and it gives you so much more versatility on the power play too.
Oh my God, dude! Imagine Johnny and Patty on power play one together with Voracek quarterbacking.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm literally just like I'm in a dream, dude. This whole show, I've been in a fucking dream.
Literally what it feels like. You could see how Johnny works with Jack Roslovic if you want to try.
Yeah, if you want to.
Why not?
Why not? It's just like this is a podcast. We talk.
Yeah.
I don't have any more words.
Yeah.
Johnny Gaudreau is a Blue Jacket. What?
Yeah. I don't know what more to say.
Dude, it's not going to sink in until opening night.
It's not. It's like I've been feeling this euphoric feeling
I know.
For several days, but it hasn't set in.
It's just we've got our franchise guy.
Yeah.
We've talked about, okay, is Rick Nash going to be the franchise guy? We thought, is Cam Atkinson going to be the franchise guy?
He was really good. He's not good enough to be a franchise guy. And there was thoughts where after the first season, oh my God, if we can lock him up long term, it could be Artemi Panarin. And then
right. And I think that Shannon put that best, when he talked about the messy breakups video. Have you watched that?
I saw it on YouTube. I've been meaning to watch it because
go and watch it because he says for Columbus, the messy breakup was Panarin. That's what he put down on the list. And if we kept Panarin, if we invested in Panarin, we probably wouldn't have ended up with Johnny Gaudreau.
We wouldn't have. We would have been in a much different position. Because honestly, like Jake, I genuinely feel like if we had kept Panarin, then chances are we probably still have Bobrovsky.
Right.
There's a good chance we might still have Duchesne.
Right.
I know he wanted to go to Nashville, but there's a good chance that he just says, "Hey, I'm going to swing for the fences. I'm going to give Duchesne more money than Nashville is to keep him. I don't care about giving up a first-round pick. We just kept Panarin.
Right.
Like,
That could have been the swing.
let's run this back."
Right.
Or who knows? Maybe Bobrovsky still leaves because they liked Elvis a lot, but things would be a lot different if Panarin stayed. You know, Gaudreau's not an option. Chances are Laine's probably never a Blue Jacket. A lot changed. Who knows? But
and now we can invest in Johnny and Patrik as our two big names.
Yeah,
at least our two big names up front.
Because we still have Werenski.
We have Werenski to, you know, be the poster child on defense, and we have Elvis to be the poster child in net.
Exactly. Like, you know, for small markets, you know, we've talked about this. We're not necessarily Columbus is the 15th largest, you know, city in America in terms of population.
Right.
But for a team that's not covered as much as Columbus is, and we talked about how that affects Bjorkstrand. We just talked about it like 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
The one thing that is interesting to me is Elvis does get covered.
Because Latvia is so huge. Latvia is a small country, but their hockey fan base is
it's pretty large.
So passionate.
But like, I think part of the thing is like he's got such a
his personality too.
Personality. Yeah. Like everybody just gravitates towards him. His name is fucking Elvis. Like,
yeah. If that's not enough, if his name isn't enough.
He's just such a wholesome guy. And then like it is unfortunate. But I do think what happened last year also
the Matisse incident did, yes.
Because people liked him when he came into the league. They loved his personality. And then when it happened, you saw just
the toll that it took on him.
And everybody just felt for him. And I think like as a result, like if you were asked people like from like a ton of fans from every fan base, doesn't matter.
Right.
Who's your favorite player on the Blue Jackets before Johnny Gaudreau signed?
Right.
Most people, I think, would actually answer with Elvis.
I would say so.
You know, a lot of people would answer Laine. A lot of people would answer Werenski, but like I think the number one answer would be Elvis.
Not number 9. He's got a lot of marketability.
He does, which is great. Think about that. You have a lot of marketability in net. You have a lot of marketability at forward now with Laine and Gaudreau.
Right.
Werenski's not really marketable. He's a very blah guy.
Yeah, but
you know who's marketable on defense is Boqvist.
He is.
People like Boqvist, like his personality. I would say he's probably the most marketable on defense, to be honest with you.
But you also, you know, you have the franchise on the back end under Z, which that's the marketability aspect there, is that he is the guy.
Yeah, he's your rock back there.
Yeah. So I think now that we've got Johnny, we've got Patty, we've got Z, we've got Boqvist, and we've got Elvis. There's
a foundation.
There is a foundation for, you know, now all that's left is just to win, and then the attention will come. Right?
Yeah. And the winning will take a little bit. I don't expect it to be this upcoming season. I'm not even sure if I expect it to be the season after that, but the 2024-25 season, I think the Blue Jackets are going to be really dangerous.
It's going to be, dude.
Because you're going to have Manichuk. You're going to have Juracek. You're going to have a lot of experience under his belt. Cole Sillinger is.
Johnny's going to be in the middle of his deal.
You're hopefully going to still have Patrik Laine around. Holy shit. Like,
this is the most optimistic I've felt in so long.
Genuinely, this may be the most excited I've ever been for the future for the Columbus Blue Jackets, because
no, even just this season, dude, I want to get the puck dropped right now.
Yeah, because it's just like, fuck, I got to see Johnny Gaudreau win it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get around and see him with the puck. Like, yeah, but in terms of just looking at the future on paper, I've never at any point been more excited for the Columbus Blue Jackets future than I am in this current moment.
We've already talked about, you know, the draft show. This defense is going to be really special. It's going to be really special.
Not very good now, but 3 years down the line, it's going to be top 10.
And these forwards, as long as you're able to keep Laine happy, now that you have Johnny, you have Oliver, you have guys that are happy here.
Yes. Yeah.
And their firepower.
And I know I'm really kind of looking down the line here, Jake. I get the sense, and I don't know about, and I know that I'm really looking down the line here, but
hurry up and get this. Sorry, but hurry up and get this point.
When Jake Voracek's contract is over, if they don't keep him, if the Blue Jackets have some money laying around, I really think there's a good chance, like 3 years down the line, that Cam Atkinson's back.
Oh, would that not be amazing? Oh,
could you imagine that?
Oh my God, just bring him back. Oh my God, I want to cry now.
He lives in Columbus. He's good friends with Johnny Gaudreau.
He handed him the jersey.
I'm just saying. I think it could happen.
He handed him the jersey.
Yeah, it's the passing of the torch.
No, have you seen the little thing that I noticed? And shout out to our boys at 614. Cam was wearing his CA89 merch when he handed Johnny the jersey. He was wearing his shirt. Yeah. So shout outs to our boys at 614 for that. We got to get Matt on the show at some point.
Yeah. We'll figure that out.
Yeah. But yeah, so the future is bright, and this season is going to be the most ecstatic and star-struck this whole fan base has been in a long time.
Yeah.
And now the biggest thing is just get Patty done. Right?
Yep.
Biggest thing is we know it's going to just get it done. And for all of you guys, for literally everybody that's trying to trade for Patrik in your armchair GM, I saw a few of like some Nashville fans wanting to trade like Fabro for Laine and some picks and all of this stuff. All that.
Sorry, holy shit! What?
Fabro and like a couple of firsts for Patrik, and it's like
I do like him, but Dante Fabro is not as good as Nashville fans like to say he is.
Guys, it's not going to happen. Patrik is going to stay. He wants to stay.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting a deal done.
It's just a matter of getting it done.
Yeah.
So okay, Pierre Dorion got really busy at the start of free agency too.
I have said for a while, in my opinion, I think people who have been down on Pierre Dorion
as a general manager, excuse me, as I try to,
I feel like he's had maybe the worst anchor in the world attached to him, and that was Eugene Melnyk.
As sad as it is to say, like, yes.
And it's not a thing. I'm not trying to be like, against Eugene or anything like that. It is unfortunate that he passed. I feel for him, but it just hockey speaking, just generally speaking, just about the sport of hockey. That's all we're talking about here.
Yes. Ownership
Impacts your decisions as a general manager significantly.
Depending on how much they meddle. We talk about the Pagulas. We don't talk about the Aquilinis as much.
I feel like they're starting to get better with it, but the Aquilinis are definitely a big factor in that.
Jeff Molson. Like usually the Canadian markets, but then you factor in like, a few of the others. Jeff Vinnick probably had a couple of says on Tampa's decisions.
Yeah.
We
talked about it earlier when I fucking confused the owner of the Hurricanes for being the GM and Tom Dundon.
Yeah.
That should tell you everything you need to know right there about ownership meddling, because I thought that Tom Dundon was the fucking general manager for a second there. Okay.
Who knows what Haslam's gonna do in Nashville? Hopefully he doesn't really ruin things.
Hopefully he's so hyper focused on the Browns that he doesn't even remember that he has Nashville. Who knows?
No, because that's his brother that owns the Browns, dude. This is the other Haslam.
Oh, I thought it was Jimmy who got the. Oh.
No, this is the other Haslam.
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll be like Dolan's brother and just not give a fuck about his team. So,
James Dolan's another big one that meddles a lot.
Yeah, James Dolan and both with the Knicks, because he doesn't care as much about the Rangers, but
he did get his more hands-on recently.
More recently, yes. But the point here is Eugene's been at the top.
Total fingerprints all over this.
Fingerprints over everywhere. Internal salary caps.
At the very least, since 2017, it's been more Eugene than Pierre. It's
already hard enough with Ottawa because of the taxes, where their location is. They are a Canadian market, but they're completely overshadowed by markets like Toronto and Montreal.
By where they play.
Their arena. It's hard.
The fact that LeBreton is finally getting done is huge.
Huge. So I've personally felt like I don't really think that Pierre Dorian's a bad GM.
No.
Had a lot against it, and a lot of people have thrown him in that worst GM category, and I think it's totally unfair.
It's not been Pierre Dorian. It's not been his fault.
I can't tell you how fucking happy I am for this guy, because this offseason he finally gets to do what he wants to do as GM.
And the nice thing is,
look at what he's doing.
So listen, the daughters, they're in their 20s. They're trying to get into this, right? They're not as hands-on.
Yeah.
Because they shouldn't be. They're learning, right? They're
letting the hockey people do their job.
Yes, they're letting the advisors help them learn things. And then the hockey people like Pierre can just do what they need to do.
So this offseason, Pierre Dorian has had the opportunity to go out and get an Alex DeBrincat, sign Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux is the big yes. Let's dive into Norris and Giroux, because we talked about the Duchesne trade, or Duchesne. We talked about Brinksy a week ago.
Yes.
And God, dude, DeBrincat, Stützle, Tkachuk.
I mean, just look at who they've got locked up long term. Brady Tkachuk, Josh Norris now. They got Claude Giroux for the next 3 years. They went out and they got Alex DeBrincat, but he's going to be an RFA, or with arbitration
rights. Yep.
Drake Batherson's locked up long term.
And Bath came into his own last year.
He did. He was outstanding. Thomas Chabot's locked up on defense.
Of course he is.
Artem Zub still has 1 year left, but I think he's going to.
They need to figure out Zub.
He's going to be a long-term piece to that puzzle.
Yeah, they need to ship out Zaitsev.
Yeah, they need to get rid of Zaitsev, but Jake Sanderson is a long-term option for them. They really like him. Erik Brandstrom as well. He goes out. He extends. Last season, Melnick was still lying, but he extended Anton Forsberg.
Forsberg is nice.
He goes out. He gets Cam Talbot. This is a team.
I was going to say we never covered the Talbot trade, did we?
Yeah, we didn't, because it was very hidden in all of it. He goes out. That's a respectable tandem right there.
Yeah, and I think so. Both sides, just to make this quick, Talbot goes to Ottawa in exchange for Gustafsson, and Gustafsson is a nice young piece, is a good young goaltender.
Yeah, Ottawa wants to win now.
Ottawa wants to finally push back.
Exactly, and for Minnesota, it makes sense because
this is the time in the lineup. Do you remember the Borowiecki interview?
Oh my God, that was a disaster.
The Boro interview. This is the point. This is the time in the timeline that Eugene was talking about, where they need to start competing again.
And I can't think of a better way.
He's right.
Than get Claude Giroux, Alex DeBrincat. They're extending players. They get another starting caliber goaltender. This has been a really fucking good offseason for, and not to mention they have two guys.
Claude Giroux is home. Claude Giroux, it's a homecoming. Did you not see his son at that presser? It was the most adorable thing.
They're not great on defense.
His son even was just like, he was doing the jersey thing. He was doing all of this. And he's like, I think Claude said something to his son. And it was just like, and he goes, I just want to go home.
I love it.
It's the most adorable shit.
But so two guys that are currently RFAs that he has to lock up, but are good pieces as well. Alex Formanton and Matthew Joseph.
Matty Joseph. Yes.
Those are 2 underrated pieces. You already have your top 6 figured out, and Brady, Norris, Giroux, DeBrincat, Batherson, and then you got like other options like Formanton and Matthew Joseph, as we mentioned.
Yep.
You got Tutsula.
Yeah. These guys are going to get scary this year, and now that I think it's just because of the fact that Pierre was finally able to do his job. Too. Shane Pinto is going to be a good third line center, because where else do you put him?
Exactly.
Listen, Josh Norris is their first liner. And Jimmy is their second liner right now. Mm-hmm. So really the only place realistically that you can put Pinto is line 3.
And I think that's reasonable for a young guy like that. He's only 21 years old, but I mentioned like their defense is kind of shaky, but like you got young guys. So obviously Shabbat's he's your Werenski. He's your rock.
Yes, he is your rock on defense.
But like, I think they have guys who can come up and be impact players immediately. We've been waiting on Brandstrom. I think he is going to show more signs this year.
He can finally break out this year. Sanderson looked good last year.
Sanderson, but 2 other guys that I really like, Lassie Thompson.
He was the one that I was thinking of instead of Sanderson.
Jake Bernard Docker.
JBD is one name that,
loved him at North Dakota. I like his game a lot. I think he can translate well. Who knows? Maybe you go with a UND pair of Sanderson and Bernard Docker, and
that'd be fun.
Let it ride.
So I've got all of Ottawa's moves from just prior to free agency pulled up on Cap Friendly, and a lot of these are smaller moves, or a lot of these are smaller signings. But at the same time, it's like the biggest ones I'm seeing here. Getting Claude Giroux is huge. Getting Claude Giroux is absolutely huge. He was probably number 3, 4 on the free agent list.
He's got to be.
Right? He was one of the top 5 free agents.
Absolutely. Because, he's not a young man anymore, but he's still really fucking good.
He's still so good.
And a 3-year deal is really reasonable.
Especially after how unfortunately his run with Florida ended.
Yeah. Through no fault of his own.
Through no fault of his own. Because he did well.
Yeah, he was fine. He was far from the problem.
Yeah. They go out and they get Christian Rubens for depth, which is interesting.
Yeah, big physical defenseman who really couldn't make his way with Toronto.
Another Latvian guy.
Yeah, another Latvian guy. I don't think he projects to be anything more than a 7th, 8th defenseman in the NHL, but that's big physical depth that you get for really cheap. So
now that I'm thinking, now that I'm on the Latvia train, do you remember when you were big into what's his name, Kristus Kaslevskis? Do you remember you had
King, Latvian King,
dude? You had a Twitter fan account dedicated to this kid.
Yeah, franchise legend.
They get Jacob Lucchini.
I remember Chell 13 or 14
when he was supposed to be.
He would always become like a god in my leagues, and I was like, forever. And then he had that like legendary performance against Canada where he stopped like 55 shots against them. And I was like, yeah, this guy's going to be a legend. And then he never became anything. And it really, really upset me. I wanted him to be good so bad.
I know. So Christian Rubens, good depth signing for them.
Yeah.
Jacob Lucchini, another, probably just minor league guy.
Yeah.
The return of Scott Sabourin.
Yep.
Interesting.
Another year of Austin Matthews trying to look at the bag of his
It was funny when Sab was a teammate of his too.
Yeah.
For that year.
I'm sure they had a good laugh over that.
Oh, I'm sure. It's like Peter Mrazek and Kyle Clifford, right? Probably a little bit different, but
which the only difference I would say is it really didn't work out for Peter Mrazek in Toronto.
Meanwhile, with Sabourin, it was just like, he's more Marley's guy, and it's like whatever.
He might play occasionally, what his role was. The difference is Scott Sabourin wasn't getting paid $3.9 million for 3 years.
Right. They got Antoine Bibeau to help Belleville.
Yeah, another depth goalie,
and a name that people recognize.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's because you think about these guys that are more or less minor league guys, but you still remember their times in the NHL.
Yeah, they got a couple guys that they really like in the minors right now, specifically Kevin Mandolese is one of them. And they got another. Mad Sogard is the other one.
Sogard is a huge one. Yeah.
Literally huge. That guy.
Well, he's
6'7".
Well, that's the thing is he's like the future. So
is Mandolese. Right? They're both really big. So they got two goalies that they like in those two guys, but I think for them, their thought process is he's going to be their Berube. And
Bebo's going to be the mentor. Yes.
He'll be the mentor. And if there's any injuries, he'll go up instead of those guys because you don't want to rush them to the NHL.
Right.
So.
Yep. And then the big one from 2 days ago is Josh Norris's, full 8-year extension. So he got full term.
A little less than $8 million. Not a bad deal for
Took a bit of a discount. Yeah.
Josh Norris is a really, really good player.
It's because it's the market. He doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah. He deserves far more attention than he gets.
We know that Brady gets attention just based off of name alone.
And that guy, I just, I'm not to twist the knife on the Sharks, but he was involved in the Erik Karlsson trade.
Oh, right.
That's fucking brutal for San Jose because Josh Norris is a really good player.
He was one of the picks in the Karlsson trade. You're right.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's bad.
They got Jacob Larson from Anaheim.
Yeah, he'll be another depth.
Or at least out from Anaheim to Ottawa.
He didn't get
he didn't get qualified, right?
Yeah, he didn't get qualified. And he hasn't developed the way that Anaheim hoped, but maybe he can become something in Ottawa as
fresh start, yeah.
Fresh start. You never know.
And then Thomas Hamara and Rourke Chartier, just from the last couple of days.
Yeah, and those are two guys who will play matters.
Yeah. But the biggest ones, with Giroux and Norris, like the Senators are making moves and they're ready to start competing again, which is nice to see.
I would argue outside of Columbus, just for getting Johnny Gaudreau, that Ottawa
has won so far.
Has won the offseason.
Yeah. But that's the thing too, is, Columbus, we're going to start competing with Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
The Sens are going to start competing again with their acquisitions. And it's going to be interesting to see who falls out. Like, does Boston fall out?
I think it's like, if you're looking at who can miss the playoffs in the East next year, I think it's very likely that Boston misses.
It's going to be maybe like an Ottawa-Boston
only due to injuries because, sure, like Brad Marchand might only miss a month to start the season, and McAvoy might only miss a month, but a month is still significant, and you're talking about a team that can't afford other injuries.
A team that did just trade for Pavel Zacha, so that's one thing.
Yeah. They traded a guy that I thought fit well in Boston, and Erik Haula for
another winger.
He can play center, I guess, but he's not gonna be playing in your top six if he's a center.
No.
So
it's gonna be Bergeron and Charlie probably then. And I don't
honestly, it's gonna be Bergeron and Krejci.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Krejci's there. I forgot Krejci came back.
And I love David Krejci, but
he's not a second line center anymore. We've talked about this.
What is he, 39 years old? Like, come on.
38. Yeah, 37, 38. He's it was a big off season so far for Ottawa, and the guys that are still left, I want to just go through this really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest one, the top remaining UFAs. Nazem Kadri's not signed still.
Yeah.
He's in talks with Colorado on an extension, which that would be so good for Naz.
I wonder, with the moves that the Flyers have made and missing out on Johnny Gaudreau.
Don't, Chuck. Oh my God. Chuck's already ruined things because he already said, we weren't even in on Johnny to begin with, which you've already pissed your fan base off enough.
Yeah.
To say that you weren't even in on Johnny to begin with, that just.
Yeah. I think that's
such a.
I think there's a chance that with the blowback that he has gotten, that Chuck Fletcher may try now to move JVR
to save face for Nas.
To save face for not getting Gaudreau and settle for a guy like Nazem Kadri. Which, look, if you're settling, not a bad option.
I guess
it's pretty fucking good, but and he does fill a need in center.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I just
it's such a bad taste.
Yeah, I'd be pissed if I was a Flyers fan. Any Flyers fans were upset. Yeah. I get it.
Dude, there's, I told you about Lissa and renouncing her Chicago fandom. I'm sure there's a lot of Flyers fans renouncing their fandom over everything that Chuck's done so far.
Lissa, if you're listening to this and you need a reason to root for a hockey team that's not the Chicago Blackhawks, first of all, we have Adam Boqvist. Ever heard of him? Yes, you have. We also have this guy. He's pretty good. Named JOHNNY GAUDREAU now.
It's just some guy.
We have another likable player in Patrik Laine. We have the most wholesome goalie in the world in Elvis Merzlikins. We have a pretty good number one defenseman in Zach Werenski.
I will say she probably will consider Ottawa just because of Brinksy going there.
Yeah, and I totally get that.
And I would not. I wouldn't falter for that.
But again, Adam Boqvist.
Adam Boqvist,
look,
JOHNNY GAUDREau, Patrik Laine.
BFF if you're not going to root for the Blue Jackets, listen.
Don't call him BFF Boqvist for nothing.
Yeah.
Second on the list, Phil Kessel. I know you already said you want to see him reunite with Toronto.
Well, two places, either Toronto or back in Pittsburgh.
Ooh, that would be a fun one too.
I'm less interested.
Dude, imagine the size of a line with Jeff Carter and Phil Kessel.
Yeah. I'm less interested in where he signs and more so in what he gets.
Right.
Is he at a point in his career where he says, you know what, I am definitely worth more than a league min, but
I can still take a discount.
So much money.
Yeah.
I can just do it because I want to win.
Right. Does he take a discount anywhere?
Does he take a discount to try and win again? Or does he say, I've already won 2 Stanley Cups.
Pay me what I'm worth.
I want to continue to make more money.
Yeah. Pay me what I think I'm worth. He's definitely,
We're going to former teams.
Mm-hmm.
Boston.
Yeah.
I know he hasn't played there in forever, but if you're looking at a team that could absolutely use some help offensively with some
little bit of offensive wing depth, yeah,
and a guy who does, and for a team, as I just mentioned, can't afford to have injuries. Phil guy never hurt.
Yeah, this guy is still going to challenge Yandel for an Ironman streak.
Oh, he's going to shatter Yandel's. So yeah, if you want a guy that isn't going to get hurt and can provide some offense, Boston, I would consider it.
Dude, Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel on the same line.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Why not?
That would be fun.
That's the second line of Taylor Hall, David Krejci, and
Phil Kessel. Maybe not the fastest, but
no, it's not the fastest, but they can get the job done. I was way off at Krejci's. Yeah. He's going to turn 37. He's still 36.
Okay. So he's still older, but
he's older, but not as old as I thought. I thought he was older than that, but
I was going to say me too.
Forever. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I would. That is an option I would consider if I'm Phil Kessel, because I think that would make some sort of sense.
Right. Rounding out the forwards, you got Paul Stastny.
Are you ready for this?
Mm.
Speaking of going back to places you've already played,
Vegas,
Avs.
Ooh.
I think he's your Nico Sturm replacement.
Huh. Oh yeah. I was because if Nas doesn't re-sign in Colorado, Stastny, if they can make it work, because I can't remember who the new general manager is off the top of my head. Now that Sackett's president, right?
Did they name a new GM?
They did, yes. I just can't remember who he is.
Oh, I thought he was president and.
No. They named a new guy. But if you can make it work and you can get Nas back and you can make the money work, why not try to go for Stastny too?
Oh, that's right. Chris McFarland.
Okay.
Yeah. So interesting. Our whole list where I said that Joe Sakic's the best GM is actually invalid because he's not the GM.
Well, I mean, at the same time, it's valid.
But like,
because I mean, he wins a cup, he wins GM of the year, and now he's like, okay, I've done all I can do.
Regardless if he comes back or not, I think the Avalanche should go after Paul Stastny. Bringing what the difference between Kadri staying and going isn't, doesn't impact what Paul Stastny would do if he comes there.
Right.
What it impacts is the role that you give Alex Newhook.
Yes. So that's the thing is, if you can bring Nas back and bring in Paul, running a dude, McKinnon, Kadri, Stastny, Newhook. Does that not?
I would put Newhook on the third line.
Or Newhook, Stastny.
Hook on the third line and just
does
Stastny be himself on the fourth line? I think that would work.
Does that not scream repeat?
Yeah.
Does that not scream back-to-back cup?
It does.
And like seriously,
I like it. That makes sense.
Getting into defense because there's 3 forwards, 3 defensemen on this image, right?
Mm-hmm.
John Klingberg's still out there.
Yeah, he's going to stay in Dallas.
John Klingberg's still out there. If I kind of do hope that he stays in Dallas this rate.
Yeah, I think he wanted to go to Vegas. I think he wanted to go to Seattle.
I was going to say, I don't know if very many people want to go to Vegas anymore.
I think he wanted to go to Seattle, but I don't think there's been as much interest as he thought there would be.
Right.
And I think that, after Dallas swung and missed on Brent Burns, bringing back Klingberg makes some sense.
I guess. Yeah. Because, if you're looking for a replacement for Klingberg, Burns would be it. But then the trade happened. So, I love how I'm still getting tweets about the JOHNNY GAUDREAU. Oh, my goodness. So Klingberg's out there. PK's out there. PK Subban's out there. Which PK's no longer the PK was in his prime.
Breaking news.
Oh.
Ty Smith and a 3rd-round pick for John Marino.
Oh, we broke a trade.
Damn.
John Marino, huh? So John Marino is going to the Devils for Ty Smith and a pick. That's interesting. I guess that's their PK replacement then. Huh?
Yeah. That saves the Penguins a lot of cap space. It saves them $4.4 million. They get a young defenseman in Ty Smith, who I'm not really a big believer in, but maybe they can bring out the best.
It's Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
it probably could. So I guess like if they don't, that fills in the John Marino. He's a solid option, and I think that fits where PK plays, right?
Yep. I still think there's a chance that if PK is going to take a discount, that he would maybe consider Toronto. But
he could. What if he goes back to Montreal? Is that relationship too broken?
That would be purely PR and sales kind of move. PK still has some value in him. I don't think he's going to get a multi-year deal. So
fan base wise, though, do you think that's a bad move?
I don't think it's a bad move if you want to engage the fans. Are you kidding?
Because I mean, like a return to Montreal for PK Subban after the way things ended in the first place. Do you think it's like far along enough? Like, are we far removed enough from this trade to where, and he's bounced around enough teams?
Yeah. I don't know. I still think there's a chance that they could maybe bring PK Subban back.
They could, and then Toronto does make Toronto makes sense.
Long-term plans are with Simon Nemec. If they think that Nemec is going to be a part of this team day one and make the team out of camp, then it's probably not wise to bring Subban back.
Oh, for the Devils, yes.
Yeah. I think that could make sense for New Jersey just to keep him for another year.
If they can get him for 1 year on like a cheaper deal.
1 year, $4.5 million.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Who knows? It's weird how we talk about, okay, so there's all these places that the forwards can go. And so far, 2 out of the 3 defensemen we've mentioned, it's like, why not they just stay?
Yeah.
And the third guy to round out this is a guy that you've already bashed in Keith Yandel.
He's actually being brought up.
He's literally, dude, let me bring up the graphic. He's right there.
Why?
Names.
Is there, dude? This offseason should be fired.
Dude,
I don't care if it's a 1 year, $750,000 contract. I loved Keith Yandel in his prime. I thought he brought a lot of value. He was a good player. No,
dude, are there any other bigger defensive?
His prime is being kind. He is not good anymore.
Who are bigger names other than that for like that third spot on defense? For like biggest free agent defenseman left? Because Burns isn't.
Well, he was already under contract.
Fair.
Let me look. NHL free agents. I'm sure I could find one name. I'm sure I can find you one name who is still better. Let's see. Okay. Positions. Defenseman. Zadorov.
But no, he already re-signed in Calgary.
Oh, he did go back?
Yes, he went back for 2 years. Deal? 2 years.
I didn't see that. Did Colin Miller sign yet?
I can't remember.
Colin Miller's not that great, but still, I mean, he's better than fucking.
Okay, fair.
Oh, Nudavara. Has he signed anywhere?
I think so. I think he signed in Vancouver.
Oh, I kind of like that for Vancouver.
That would be nice. Dude, Dermot Nudavara. Ooh.
Oh, no, he's with the Sharks.
Oh, the Sharks, right. Yes, because I remember Oscar going there too.
I was going to say.
Because Lindblom went to. Yeah.
But that's, I like that move for San Jose because I've always been a big Nudavara guy. But
yeah, Lindblom went to San Jose too, which, I mean, it's nice that he got somewhere.
Yeah.
You
know what? I know people feel bad for Oscar Lindblom for being bought out. I say good for you. Congratulations on getting the fuck out.
Get out of the flat, yeah. And it's nice that Johnny did. It's again, Johnny, dude, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I think he did make the best choice for him.
He did.
Which isn't to just, that's not us being homers. I mean, it kind of is.
That's not. Of course we're happy about it. And of course we vouch for Columbus, but he decided he personally thought it was best decision for him. I support that decision mainly because it makes me happy.
Yeah. So let's take a hard turn. Because we've got some Team Canada updates from Strang and Westhead.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to look them over. So
they've basically said the same thing.
Okay.
I've got a thread from Westhead, and I've got just one tweet from Katie. I think with time, I'll just read Katie's tweet.
Yes.
So major point of contention emerging here. Lawyers on behalf of players say their clients were not informed of the lawsuit against Hockey Canada. Hockey Canada officials said in testimony before the Heritage Committee last month that they did notify via their representatives. So there's a little bit of a conflict here.
Right.
I love this first reply. If a lawyer came to me and said there was a lawsuit, but you don't have to be involved, I would have questions. So I think it's really just the lawyers trying to push the brakes on this now that the investigation's reopened.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just them trying to protect the clients as much. But because what does this say to you? Because to me, now that the investigation is open again, I think we just need more time to get details, because the biggest details we have right now are the financial sponsors pulling out, right?
And we covered that a while ago.
Yeah.
The biggest, the reason it's hard to talk about is because there's seemingly less details and more confusion and plausible deniability, it seems, than, say, the Blackhawks case last year, where last year it was like new detail every day.
Right. We were getting more. Yeah.
And this is significantly more complicated.
And this is a lot slower of a burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like we're getting with the Blackhawks case, like you said, we got a new detail every day, right?
And I think it's only a matter of time.
And it unraveled.
Yeah.
And it unraveled until we got the full report. With this, it's like we get, boom, here's a big chunk of this case. And then we go a while without anything. And then boom, here's another chunk of this case.
I think it's only a matter of time until the biggest detail comes out.
Which would be who are these players?
And then we figure it out.
Right.
It might take a while, but there is going to be at some point a piece of information that comes out that just leads to the rest of it quickly being uncovered.
Whether that's player identities or official identities.
I think it's going to be player identities.
Only time will tell, right? And
yeah,
I'm sure the SDP guys will have it, and we'll have it. Well,
yeah, I mean,
we're not the biggest. Like, we're literally, again, we've only been doing this for a year, but we still try to cover the biggest things that we can.
Yes,
because they're important to talk about anywhere.
Yeah,
and I don't care what size of a podcast you're on.
These are we've talked about this many times. These are things that people need to be talking about, because no matter how big your platform is, you need to be talking about these big things because they're so big. They need to be covered.
Yes, they need to be covered. They need to be exposed.
These are the very uncomfortable conversations we need to be having.
Yes. In order to change things for the culture of the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's wrap it up with underrated players. I got one more on my list.
Yeah.
And if you want to find one while I'm bringing up the list in his statistics.
I'm going to come up. This is going to be the worst answer of all time for this, but I have an answer. I want you to hear yours first.
You want to hear mine first? Well, let me pull up his stat sheet so that I just have his stuff here. He's off of, I will say a hint to this guy is off of a team that we've discussed at length during this show. Oh my gosh.
Give me the stats. Let's see if I can guess who this player is.
So now I finally have his stats up. Okay. So not career. Do you want career or regular season first?
Regular season.
So this past regular season, 82 games, 4 goals, 46 assists for 50 points and a +30.
Jesus.
In the playoffs, 12 games, 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points and a -10.
-10.
With a half a point a game.
Jesus.
You want his full career?
Sure.
Full career, 298 games, 16 goals, 96 assists for 112 points and a +29. So that means he is a younger guy.
So I'd have to imagine this is a defenseman.
It is.
We talked a lot about talked a lot about Calgary, New Jersey, a little bit of Boston.
You're on the right track, buddy. You're on the right track, buddy. You're getting warmer.
Was it any of the three teams I just named?
It was off of one of the three teams you named.
Okay. So
he is a defenseman.
Anderson.
Bingo.
Fuck yes, let's go.
Rasmus Anderson rounds out the list from like months ago that we finally just finished.
Okay.
This guy had himself a bit of a run this playoff, and you know he's one of their like second pair guys now that Tanev is on that top pair.
Yeah, because Tanev has been outstanding.
Chris Tanev.
Yeah.
He's Chris Tanev. Like, come on. But you know, still being a top 4 defenseman and really young. He's only 25, dude. He's a year older than
He's really good. I like his game a lot. I love the contract for him.
Oh yeah.
I think he's underpaid for what he does. So for my answer, I'd like to remind people the definition of underrated.
Yes.
Is, not properly rated. People don't give enough credit for how good they are.
Right. It's not. Yeah, they fly under the radar.
We've been trying to. Basically, the whole point of this, though, is to shed light on players who aren't given as much credit.
Who are very, very good players that had great seasons, and that they just didn't get enough love, right?
Yeah. I'm going to completely break that rule, and I'm going to say with 40 goals and 75 assists that Johnny Gaudreau is my pick. Did you see that he led the league in plus minus this year? I know plus minus.
He has a plus 64.
It's fucking stupid. It is such a ridiculous stat.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm looking at it right now because I took a screenshot and sent it to my mom because I'm still like so excited about this.
It's like holy shit.
I was like, just look at this guy.
Yeah.
Dude, and he's 28.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Career 602 games, 210 goals, 399 assists,
609 points.
And a
point per game player.
Plus 85, Jay.
Yeah.
Dude, he's gonna get
point per game. Johnny is gonna help out point per game Patty, isn't he?
He friggin' better, dude. He's gonna get his 400 assists as a Blue Jacket.
He's gonna get to 1,000 games played and 1,000 points as a Blue Jacket.
Oh my god! How many times can I say that I'm floored? And it's like it still doesn't feel real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Johnny Gaudreau is a Columbus Blue Jacket. We're gonna bookend it right there because, like, what else is there to say?
When he retires, very good chance that he's viewed as the best Blue Jacket of all time.
It's highly, highly likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is just the biggest home run. This is the biggest hat trick. This is the biggest home run that this franchise has made.
I know Rick Nash had a great career with Columbus. He played nine seasons.
Yes. And
he played 674 games and had 547 points. In terms of point per game production,
mm-hmm.
I think Johnny Gaudreau could absolutely match that or go above it.
Dude, there's a reason why number 61 was the first number retired.
Mm-hmm. And there's a reason that there's a very good chance that number 13 will be the second one. if or third, because there's a chance that the second one could be
72.
Yeah.
72 in the rafters would look kind of nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, and you know, we say this as two Bobrovsky fanboys.
Yeah, my number was literally 72.
Dude, my first jersey was a Bobrovsky jersey.
Yeah.
And
my first Blue Jackets jersey was actually Ryan Johansson, and I got him like right after he was drafted.
Oh.
So
and now I think we both need to invest in some Gaudreau jerseys.
Yeah, I might buy one after this podcast is over.
I might honestly ask for yeah.
Might get a road jersey.
I might get a road one too. Now that because I've got 2 home ones, I might get a road one. Why not?
I've never had a road Jackets jersey.
Neither have I.
I'm always so scared to get, like mustard or some shit on it, but
right, exactly. This one you got to keep pristine.
Yeah.
But everybody, enjoy this next week. We're gonna keep track of all the free agency stuff and everything that's going on. We're in the lulls of the season. That's why we're doing 1 show a week. Yeah. But we missed a hell of a lot this week.
Hectic week, but a great week. And it's a great
amazing week for us Blue Jackets fans. Calgary fans, we feel your sympathies. And
we get it. We get it.
They also just lost Cal Yarncroke to the Leafs yesterday. So move.
I'm sure they're more upset about that one.
Flames fans reach out to us. Have some fun.
More important than that, though, Jake. They lost Erik Gudbranson.
Yeah, that's got to be so tough. We got the good, we got the great, we got the Johnny.
Yeah, we got the good, and we got more good.
Oh my God, I'm so ready for October already. It's like
let's drop the puck.
Let's drop the puck. Let's get Patty signed and let's go. We'll see you in a week, everybody.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.